The most thrilling, spine-tingling series ever.
From the pages of R.L. Stein's best-selling books,
And the screams go on forever and ever.
We now return to Goosebumps.
Greetings, Goosebumps fans, young and old, big and small, living dead and undead. Welcome back to the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. As always, I am your host, Isaiah Vargas. Unfortunately, my co-hosts, Bjorn Palnick and Nick Shaw, were unable to join me today, but that's okay, because this is still the Goosebumps Crew, and we're still going to talk some Goosebumps. If this is your first time joining us here on the Goosebumps Crew Podcast, I want to sincerely welcome you all. If you are or have ever been a fan of the classic series of Goosebumps books or the monster franchise those books spawn, I have a feeling this podcast is going to be right up your alley, because as I always say, me, Bjorn, and Nick are some of the biggest Goosebumps nerds on the entire planet, and we could talk about for Goosebumps for hours on end, and that is exactly what we do here on this podcast. Every week we got a brand new episode talking about everything Goosebumps, whether it be the books, TV shows, movies, video games, merchandise, whatever it is that has Goosebumps in the name. We're going to talk about it so much you are going to be nauseated at the word Goosebumps. You're going to be so sick of hearing it. So with all that said, if you end up liking today's episode, make sure you leave a like and comment. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell notification to get updates when new episodes go up every Wednesday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're just dying to get those episodes a day early, however, you can catch the audio-only versions a day early on our audio platforms. We're available on platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us. And of course, you can follow us over on social media. We're available on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. We now also have platforms over on Blue Sky, Threads, and Tumblr, so you can follow us there as well. You can also follow Bjorn and Nick at Goosebumps, Saucy Fan, and Sean, respectively, on their social medias and their YouTubes. All those links are in the description below, so check them out. Join the Goosebumps crew today, become a crew member, and we thank you in advance for your support. Now, as I said, Bjorn and Nick were unfortunately able to join us today due to some personal matters, but that's okay, because we are joined today by two other terror twins who are also huge Goosebumps fans. They've been on the show before, and they are also the hosts of the Welcome to Deadcast podcast. That's their own Goosebumps podcast, and we're very happy to have them back on again. It's Daniel and Matthew Scott Montgomery. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. How you guys doing?
So great. Thank you so much for having us. This is our favorite podcast.
I'm so happy to be back. I can't wait to be sick of the word goosebumps.
I won't be.
Yeah, you think by this point we'd be sick of it too, but nope.
No, it's like a never-ending conversation. It just doesn't get old.
Nope.
Sure won't.
I could talk about Goosebumps for days. Maybe other people will get sick of it, but not me.
I think you have.
Yeah, no, we definitely have. This is like, what, episode 70 something at this point? This has been like
that's
at least a week's worth of discussion.
Yeah, without taking a breath.
What a great week.
What a great
Definitely.
week. Yes. Yeah. A wonderful way to spend 7 days.
Exactly. But no, I'm very glad to have you guys here. As I said, you joined us once before, way back when, to talk about top 5 scariest episodes. That was a great episode too. You guys at home can go watch that if you haven't already. But I mean, you guys are enormous Goosebumps fans, just like we are, and you've been in the Goosebumps podcast game longer than we have. So just as you guys, are happy to be here, I'm happy to have you here to talk with me tonight. So thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thrilled and chilled.
Now, for this week's podcast, we always talk about how Goosebumps is, horror for kids. It's a horror franchise, but it is for younger kids. But Goosebumps also falls into the genre of campy horror. In that case, that for every scary episode, there's usually, or a book or episode, whatever it is, for every scary book, there's probably a book that's going to be absolutely bizarre. That's the way with R.L. Stine's writing. He comes up with some very outlandish ideas for his books sometimes. Sometimes they work, and sometimes you look at them and you're like, how the hell does that even suffice for a horror story in any way? So I felt it'd be interesting this week to talk about some of the weirdest Goosebumps books in the entire franchise, whether it be the original books or any of the sequel series, spin-offs, whatever it may be. Now, since you guys are the guests here tonight, I figured only best to start with you. What do you guys consider some of your picks for the weirdest Goosebumps books?
So, given this assignment, I don't know why I'm realizing I wasn't told this exactly. I, for some reason, only kept it to the original 62. However, now that you've opened it up, there's an even weirder one that comes to mind that supersedes any of the first 62. And I don't know if I should like wait for it or like just dive right in or like there's so much I want to talk about. I don't know where to start.
Maybe we can save it for the end. I'd like to. Maybe we can save those very weird ones for the very end.
Also, like because when I think of weird Goosebumps books, one stands out by far, and it's from the OG series, and another one that's in the last, I think it was probably 10 or 12 years ago. One of the newer ones stands out as well. So I will say both of those for the end of the episode.
Well, that's the one thing.
Okay.
Before we get into any specifics, I will quickly say many of the weirdest, strangest ideas have definitely come as the series has progressed, and you will see a lot of them have come within the past few years. I haven't read a lot of the modern books. I keep to usually the originals, but from what I've heard, there's a lot that have come out in, like you said, the last 10 to 12 years that have been very, very odd.
2010 is the weirdest one for me.
Okay, I can't wait to talk about that.
I might know which one it is.
Yeah.
But Daniel, what do you got?
Yeah, so I mean, one book also stands out to me out of the original 62 as the weirdest book. Like, it's the first one that comes to my brain. But there are two or I made a little list here, but there are really 3 or 4 others that I think are right near the top. I'll mention a few of those, and then I will just say what I think is the weirdest one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think when I think of weird, I think of chicken. Yeah. I think a lot of the weirder ones stem from R.L. Stine having a field day, picking a strange title, and then trying to have it make sense. The Beast from the East is so wacky to me.
Yes.
Like, couldn't be stranger. It's essentially a weird game of tag in the woods run by 2 blue furry monsters that can talk. Mm-hmm. And it's insane. Like, the things that happen in the book it really feels like R.L. Stine was like, I have no idea where I'm going next, so let's just, oh yes, there are twins in the book. Let's make up a classic clone rule where the twins can like get a loophole around the game and not be murdered by these monsters by creating their classic clones. I can't even explain what that means because it doesn't really make any sense. It is the weirdest, like, fantasy, red moss, blue tree, yellow trees, like, weird fever dream fantasy book. The Beast from the East, which I don't even really know what that means. Even the cover, you look at the cover and you're like, this is going to be weird.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of ones that like for like a novice fan, I guess they were looking for like, I want a vampire book, and for that it's like Vampire Breath or whatever it is, or a werewolf book or a mummy book. By the time we got to Beast in the East is number 43. Mm-hmm. So by the time we got to Beast from the East, it was kind of like, well, let's just have a blue monster in the trees in Dr. Seuss land. Like, that's where it starts to go off the rails a little bit. That's there.
The thing. It's like Stein so very commonly says that a lot of his books start with the title. So I'm wondering if he got that title and then was like, oh crap, what do I do? Like, what kind of story do I write about this? So it's probably one of those things where, God, I wish I knew how his brain worked, because, when you get a title like Chicken, And you're like, what the hell am I gonna write about chicken?
Can we talk about chicken? Because
Yes, definitely. We have to talk about
the cover of Chicken. So I don't remember who took. I just had this idea as a kid that like Chicken was the quote worst end quote Goosebumps book. I don't know why. Maybe it was just in our household. Do you remember feeling that way? But like,
yeah, it was kind of an understanding that like, oh, this one's bad.
But that being said, I fell in love with Chicken
Same.
and would read it all the time and would like be like, stupid Chicken. This is the worst book I've ever read. I'm going to read it again and again and again. And like then it's like time to read a book. What do I want to read? Like, I guess I'll read Chicken again.
And I mean, there's a great, silly, stupid twist at the end.
It is, yeah.
Pig. Like,
don't they also fill a mailbox with water at one point?
I think so.
And I've always
as a
wondered the
prank.
physics of that and how that actually works.
Yeah.
How do we fill a mailbox with water?
It's a very silly one, and you're right. I for a while I did get the impression that Chicken was like the worst one, or at least many considered it to be one of the worst. I don't think that is at all. I
don't think that anymore either.
Found on that book a lot on this, especially on this podcast. But the fact of the matter is, Chicken's not a bad book. I think it's a very I associate it more with like a B horror movie. Like,
Yeah.
It's something that's not cinema.
You know what it is, though? It feels like it's, you know how R.L. Stine likes to pull from, you know, EC Comics and some sort of Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt. It feels a little bit like the child version of Thinner.
Yeah.
Book and movie about, you know, like the Roma grandma or whatever curses this idiot guy and makes him grow skinnier and skinnier and skinnier, which starts to feel like Say Cheese and Die Again, I guess. But it's the idea of them like wronging this, you know, sorceress weirdo woman in the neighborhood and cursing the kids. It's like it's kind of a classic tale.
Yeah.
In a way, it's just told through a finger licking nightmare.
Like the body horror of like my lips getting
turning into a beak
and hard.
Yes.
And feathers from my neck is like so twisted.
It's scary.
Well, that's the
scary.
thing. It's like people forget that is scary. Like the idea of your body changing and, you know, you're into a chicken of all things. Like, yeah, definitely like the lips turning into a beak is a very like creepy idea. So I feel like many people sort of hear the name, see the cover, and are like, wow, that probably is stupid. But I guarantee you, there's a lot more stupider Goosebumps books, and definitely a lot of ones that are worse than Chicken.
Yeah.
I feel like I wish there had been a TV episode of it, because I think it would have been.
Oh my God,
I think it would have been really bad in a great way.
Like the idea of
I'm imagining the kind of effects they had in season 3 and 4, and them doing that for Chicken. I'm like, God, I wish.
it would be so scary.
There's also an incredible moment in that book where I forget her name, but the lead girl, she is turning into a chicken and has to come downstairs for a party that mom is throwing.
Yes.
And she's in the kitchen and literally turning into a chicken, and it's the epitome. Crystal. It's the epitome of an R.L. Stine parent completely ignoring what's going on with the kid. And I'm too focused on the party. Where's the chicken salad? You know, and she's like, I'm turning into a chicken. She's like, okay, put on some chapstick, honey. She's like, my lips.
Doesn't she start like, what noise do chickens make?
At school.
Doesn't she start doing that? She can't speak it. And she turns. I love it. I love Chicken.
It's so good. It really is a good book. It's not like good in terms of like a critical aspect, but it's so fun. Like that's the kind of stuff you go to Goosebumps for, is the the horror and the comedy, and I think that one is just a comedic masterpiece.
A lot of these choices are like, for me, a thin line. Like I made a list of top 10. There we go. But like, there's a thin line between weird and creative is like the nicest way to put, I think, some of it, or random, because like you're right, because it's not like some stuff is not super scary. It's just like, where did this idea come from?
To me, the book that is the epitome of random and keeps going is Legend of the Lost Legend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Legend of the Lost Legend, there are like remote, like wind up mice.
Yeah.
And like there's like a sort of like wolf feral boy named Luca who ends up like being I don't think he's a scientist, but like it's just endless survival trials in the woods to find the lost legend, and then it's like they end up finding the egg of truth or something instead.
Oh, you're right.
It's constantly like they find eggs that, you know, the eggs hatch to be wind up mice. Like, it doesn't make every chapter of the book. They like stay with an old woman named Ivana who also turns out to be a wind up toy. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It sounds like a Give Yourself Goosebumps book.
It does.
It really
it's like
does.
a mad lib of a book. It's just like it keeps going, and every chapter Arlsen's like, I don't know. We'll make them wind up toys. I don't know. Doesn't matter. How about we'll be attacked by the trees, I guess. Like, it is. I can't even explain what it's about. Like, I was like, well, I can't give a 1 to 2 sentence like just summarization of Legend of the Lost Legend. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't even end with just like, because they find the lost legend and it's just like, you are now lost forever. So it's like, wow, what an anticlimactic ending.
Matthew's right. It's a Give Yourself Goosebumps book.
It
really
gives yourself goosebumps.
Trolling us with Legend of the Lost Legend.
Which I guess we might as well like throw in there, because Give Yourself Goosebumps, I feel, as a whole series is just strange and outlandish. I mean, even books like Beware the Purple Peanut Butter, like... like those ones are all so strange, but I think that's the point, is because you have to come up with a bunch of outlandish scenarios for the reader to be interested and want to choose. So those ones get a very crazy. But Legend of the Lost Legend, it's not a book I enjoy. Unlike Chicken Chicken, I do think it's a bad book.
I kind of do too.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a good one.
It's non-coherent, and that's the thing. It's like, if it had a little more of a clear goal and it didn't have so much like weird stuff happening, like just try to make a little more sense of it, then I think it could have worked.
You can feel that with the cover a little bit, because you're like,
it's just like an angry
Tim Jacobus like trying to like create something interesting out of the plot. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, an angry sort of Viking. It's like it's just strange. It's just a strange. Along those same lines, Egg Monsters from Mars is so wacky to me, and I love Egg Monsters from Mars.
I love Egg Monsters from Mars.
Love Egg Monsters from Mars.
Truly, like an iconic book, but so wacky. I just think of like the like omelet blanket that like smothers the evil.
Like the second entire half of that book is just locked in a cold,
like observation room with like a warm blanket of eggs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like pulsing eggs. Like the descriptions went nuts on the egg monsters, because they're just like, they're little beady eyes, and they have like green vein, like even on the egg, like green egg with purple veins on it, and it's just like, wow.
Weird. I mean, it's weird. And then on the other side of that, it feels like a little bit I don't know why, but maybe it's the observation, like science room of it all, but it makes you think of a little bit of Why I'm Afraid of Bees, because have Gary going to that place to switch bodies, that sort of like clinic to switch bodies. And I think Why I'm Afraid of Bees is one of the first books in the series to not necessarily be scary, but just kind of be like, it's weird. It's just like,
yeah, that was on my list as well.
I mean, the cover is terrifying.
That's where it's like the main takeaway for me from Why I'm Afraid of Bees is like the plot is kind of random and not attractive to me at all, but we get that horrific cover of the book where it's like, I think that's one of the most iconic like Goosebumps images we have. It's like screaming boy trapped in a bee's body on this like
very scary
darkly sunsetting night. Like,
that's the thing too.
That makes it all worth it.
Actually, you guys compare Chicken Chicken to Thinner. What's funny is that I can see that. But one thing I always found funny is because Why I'm Afraid of Bees and Chicken Chicken are usually the two ones that, like, when I think of strange Goosebumps plots, those two come to mind. Yeah. And what's funny is Why I'm Afraid of Bees is almost, you can definitely tell the influence was from the 1950s Fly movie. Mm-hmm, yeah. I almost consider Chicken Chicken to be like a reference to the 1980s Fly movie with Jeff Goldblum.
Sure, turning into something gross.
Gradually, like that sort of thing. So it's like, wow, it's like, I can't believe I connected it that way,
Yeah. I will say the weirdest book for me, I'm going to jump into it right now, is I Live in Your Basement.
Yes, no, but a fantastic book. That is a book I think
one of my
benefits
favorites.
from how strange it is.
It's just the image of, you know, somebody pulling themselves inside out, standing on the stairs, looking at you as they do that.
I don't. Maybe it scared me too much as a kid.
So scary.
I don't like it. That book. I have a hard time with that book because I don't like.
It's a fever dream of a book. You know, I forget.
Feels like I got hit in the head with a baseball and I go into a coma for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's such a mind fuck of a plot because it's you look at the cover, you're like, okay, it's about a monster in the basement story. We've had that before.
No, not what the book is about.
It's a very strange, surreal, psychological horror.
Yes.
And it's like every twist and turn. Like I remember when I first read it and you got to the part where I forget the one girl's name, but like the reveal that she's actually Marco's sister. Like, and I was just what? Like, huh?
A book of bad dreams. Like, it's just like nightmare fuel. But like sick at home from homesick from school, like weird. It feels like you're on drugs reading that book. It's so strange.
this is the description on the book. Like, don't do this. Watch out for that. Marco's mom thinks the whole world is a danger zone. She won't even let Marco play softball, but Marco wants to have fun. So he sneaks off to a game, and that's when it happens. He gets hit in the head with a baseball bat. Now things are getting really fuzzy, really scary, because when Marco gets home, he gets the strangest call from someone who says he lives in Marco's basement.
I'm obsessed. Like, it's so strange.
Maybe I need to revisit it.
It feels like
I read it on vacation a few months ago, and it was just like it's surreal, but it's also very, very interesting. It's actually kind of funny because it's also, I think, it's the shortest Goosebumps book in the original series, at least in terms of wording. I don't know if it's in terms of pages, but in terms of wording, it's the shortest Goosebumps book.
I'm going to read it as soon as possible.
I would definitely recommend it. It's such an underrated gem. And actually, that's one of the situations where I'm like, I hate that this book is so rare because I think it's a fantastic story and I wish more people could read it.
Yeah. For me, that's the weirdest. It's so strange.
It's my weirdest as well.
There you go.
That's my number.
I honestly, I don't disagree with that. It really is like just the most like messing with your brain sort of story. Like many of the other ones, you know, we have talked and will talk about are more just weird and just kind of like, well, how does that make any sense? This one is like legitimately leaves you kind of just like thinking afterwards. And it's weird to say about a Goosebumps book.
I know.
But it's true. It really, really does.
It also has like an element of, it feels like a little more sinister than other books do.
It does.
You know, it really feels
unsafe.
It does. It feels nightmarish.
Twisted.
Yeah.
Well, even like it's definitely probably one of the goriest because of, you know, you have a monster who is an inside out person. And the description I remember is just like, you know, first the lungs plop out and just like make a sickening slap on the ground. And it's like, it's disturbing. Like it'd be disturbing if that was in an R-rated horror film.
It feels fully, as pieces of it feel fully R-rated to me, which is so wild.
That's one I wish they could have done. You know what though? If they did an episode on that, it would be heavily altered with like 100.
I think they would change some like key stuff in the plot too. Like I feel like they would
make it TBY7.
Yeah, I think they would have to move some like.
You know, if there's a book that they should adapt for season 3 of the reboot, if they're going to do it, I definitely think they should do I Live in Your Basement because they can take advantage of, you know, the more mature rating that they have on that show.
No, it makes me think of, you know, when season 1 came out of you know, the 2023 series, the tagline was scarier than you remember, which I love that tagline. That series was not scary, but I love the idea of following through with that and maybe having a season 3 where it's like, we're just going to go full, like actually really scary. They
were almost doing that with season 2 when they got to like the body horror stuff with David Schwimmer. I'm like, this is what I want. Like, this is what I'm asking for.
Yes, you're right.
What's another one of yours?
So another one of mine is sticking in the later half of the OG62. Don't Go to Sleep. And this one I have to include both the book and the episode because the TV episode, and I'll be honest, for a while I hated the TV episode, but I've really come to like love it in an ironic sense because it just makes me laugh. It's
wedding day. Eating the onion.
Yeah. I love the fish islands. The fish islands, like, in the whole time, and like, there's no time.
That's reality.
That's reality. That's reality.
Wait, I haven't watched the episode in so long. This makes me want to watch it.
Oh my god! I might watch it tonight. I'm like in the mood for it now. I've actually been introducing my friends to Goosebumps. Like just watch a bunch of episodes, and I've showed them a lot of the very iconic ones. I'm very excited for the next time because I'm just going to show them the schlockiest ones.
Like, huh?
And they love it. They love that kind of stuff. I remember when I showed them, not a weird, I will give special honorable mention to this, not a weird book overall, weird ending for Welcome to Camp Nightmare.
Oh yeah. I love that one. I love that.
So good. There's definitely weird moments in books like that, and The Girl Who Cried Monster, that ending too is a very, very strange, out of left field one. But I remember I showed them the episode, and first they got revealed that everyone's okay, and they're like, what? Then government testing lab, huh? And they're aliens. What?
Wow. I mean, I know y'all have the episode of the best twists. It's just the twistiest twist.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Honestly, I felt bad that I put it so low because I like the more like, there's just a style of twist ending that I like, but I remember, God, I think everyone else, Nick, Bjorn, and Sid, who was with us for that one, I think they all had it at least number 2 or number 1. So
it's such a classic Goosebumps. It's like the epitome of a Goosebumps twist.
It is. That's like the twistiest twist, just like you said. But back to Don't Go to Sleep. That's another one that's just a complete, like, what the hell is going on? Because it's
like a Give Yourselves Goosebumps book too.
It is. And even that cover too. It's like the 3-fingered.
Yeah, it's just like
reaching over the bed. Like it's a great cover. It's a great cover.
It's one of my actual favorites of the covers. The book is,
I feel whatever. Like something happens in the like 40s and 50s. Like early 40s and early 50s of the original 62, that things just get a little weird.
Yeah.
Like How I Learned to Fly to Chicken to Don't Go to Sleep. It's like, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so weird. And with the 40s, with Bad Hair Day,
She's a Die Again,
Monsters to Beast from the East. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, it's funny because I think Bad Hair Day, Egg Monsters, and Beast from the East were like the 3 books I first like actually read a little bit of.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, if only I knew back then what I know now about like how uncommon those ones were. But it's so funny looking back. It's like those were like the 3 first ones that I ever read from this series. And Cuckoo Clock.
So. I remember whenever we read Beasts from the East, when Daniel and I discovered Goosebumps books as kids, we decided that we would read them both together as an entire series, but Daniel would read the odd number books first, and I would read the even number books first. So, like, because we shared copies. Mm-hmm. So I remember when Daniel was reading Beast from the East, I was so anxious to read it. What are you laughing at?
Were you sitting outside my room?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I knew Daniel was reading it in his room, and I was just sitting, waiting for him to finish the book.
I remember that too. I remember the afternoon.
And I remember Daniel turning to the last page. I remember hearing him laugh. And I was like, oh, it's a good twist ending because Daniel just laughed. And then like, I was like, oh, I know he's done. And then I like opened the door. I'm like, can I read it now? Then immediately probably read the entire book. I remember that specifically for Beast from the East.
Yeah, because Beast from the East is one of those that you look at and you're like, what is this going to be about? Like, what does that mean? The beast from the like, what is this?
Yeah, what is that?
Well, that's the thing about Don't Go to Sleep too, is because like honestly, that title and that cover are so good. It's like I don't think I would really expect the kind of story that's actually told, like the sort of hopping between realities. And it's like, even in the book, it gets really, really weird because at one point he's like a little girl and then he's a squirrel at one point. So
when I think of Don't Go to Sleep, the first thing I think is squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. And it's just like, how did we get here?
Matt's a squirrel for a while, right? Isn't he like running around as a squirrel for chapters and chapters?
I think so. I think that's the one I remember the most. So I think that takes up most of the story. But yeah, just like reality police and like
reality police.
It's so funny. In the episode, they have a big trial scene with like this judge who they keep putting like they keep like doing close-up shots of him, and this judge with like this really big sweaty face.
That's what I think. I think of the TV episode. I think of that part.
I think of the surgery. I think of the bomb. I think of the wedding.
Oh my god!
Surgery.
Wedding. And
Doctor, you're gonna have to take off your hockey skates.
All this sounds made up.
It does.
Yeah, it really does. It feels like one that you would say to someone, and they're like, "That's not real." Oh, it's real.
Go to sleep.
I'm glad you brought up How I Learned to Fly too, because that's the only book that I could think of that isn't scary in the absolute least.
No,
not even at all.
Not even remotely.
No, it's almost like a really lighthearted Twilight Zone episode, like, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember reading it, wondering if it was me realizing probably around page like 85, being like, "Oh, this one's not going to get scary. Oh, nothing scary is going to happen." Like he just knows how to fly, and then kind of becomes famous.
I know. I keep mentioning the covers, but you think about the cover of that too, and you have the classic Converse flying through the air, but you also have these birds that, you know, trying to make them as scary looking as possible. Like, this book is scary though. It's still Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Ooh,
the birds have red eyes.
I think they do. Yeah.
No, it's one that I was honestly kind of bored reading because I'm like, it's not. Like, and then you go to Chicken and you're like, okay, this now we're back.
Well, then you click into like Blob That Ate Everyone, and then Curse of Camp Cold Lake, and we're like, okay, we're back a little bit. Like, we're back.
Curse of Camp Cold Lake is the scary one.
Like,
talk about another twist ending. Blob That Ate Everyone, and with the two blob monsters at the end. I love that twist.
Oh
That's another.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I love that one so much. Well, and I love how dark it is too, because it's like it's the blob reading the story, which we just read, to another blob, and then they're just like, it's not a happy ending, and then it's like, all right, I'll change it to where everybody gets eaten, and that's actually kind of dark.
I love when there's a dark. I love there's a dark like Cuckoo Clock of Doom twist. It's like, bye Tara, bye.
Yeah, but honestly, that one, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either. I mean, no problem with that. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
In the same range, we got to talk about My Harriest Adventure.
I sure do. It's on my list too.
It's on all of our list. Yes.
And another one, we got to talk about the book and the episode, because
Harry Larry,
hair on his head, hair on his mind.
it was the wildest revelation to me to listen to this podcast and realize that the entire episode is dubbed over by Amos Crawley?
Amos Crawley, yeah.
Literally the entire episode is dubbed over. That is, of course, you watch and you're like, yes, of course.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, after we had him on, because I remember that whole thing started because he was like, I did another episode too, and we're like, really? And he's like, yeah, I did voiceover for this one about werewolves. So we're like, well, he wasn't in Fever Swamp and he wasn't in Werewolf Skin. So it's like, and then we had a commenter be like, no, he did the dubbing in My Harriest Adventure, and I'm like, shut up, wait a minute. And then I went back and I'm like, how the hell did I not realize this?
Unbelievable.
That episode really does feel like a bad dream.
It's also, that book and episode is so ridiculous because there's the absolute fake out of the tanning lotion, like the Insta-tan. Like, that's the plot. Like, it's like, oh no, he rubs on the Insta-tan. We're scared of the tanning lotion. That's not it. Like, it's way weirder than that.
Yeah, he's a dog.
That's already pretty weird.
I think it's such a fantastic twist or Jasper at the end.
Oh yeah,
where it's like
Yeah, that's so messed up. Like your son turns back into a dog, which first of all you're experimenting on your pets, which is weird already. And then they don't learn a lesson. They just do the same thing to the cat, and that is so messed up.
So weird.
it is. It's so
My hairiest adventure.
What a name.
What? The cover, like
The cover's giving monkey.
it does.
It's a little bit.
It's so funny, the idea of like, help, I'm growing unwanted hair.
From this bottle of Instatan.
Larry, are you growing, what'd she say? Larry, are you growing some unexpected hair?
No, are you? No, are you?
No, are you?
No, are you?
I just think back to the
hair.
John video. It's just like FBI should be knocking this door any minute now.
Yeah, that's definitely up there as one of the weirdest.
Well, and honestly, nothing against Amos Crawley because he's awesome. But it's like, once we found out that he was the person who ad-libbed over it, I'm kind of like, so that's why it sounds completely emotionless.
Yes.
It does sound, it sounds it feels disconnected watching it. But there's a lot of moments in the Goosebumps series where, they use some ADR and you feel like, I always think of like Phantom of the Auditorium and the guy that plays, Zeke, I think?
Yeah.
And I'm like, is everything, it's hard to tell. It's like, is everything he's saying dubbed over by someone? Like, maybe it's not, but it's just sometimes with like.
Cheese and Dies with Sherry.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sherry. Sometimes with like Canadian, like the mom and Stay Out of the Basement. Sometimes you're like,
Are you talking right now?
and, it's
Like, is this you or is that a recording?
Yes. Which I think is part of the charm of the series.
I do too.
for sure.
It makes it feel like a bad dream. It actually makes it seem a little bit like unreal and more disturbing in a way.
Honestly,
Yes.
something that's lost nowadays in TV because everything is so finely tuned and everything is so like, everybody goes back to like actually fix things now that you lose that sort of, roughness in the production.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
You watch the original Goosebumps series, and it's, especially in the beginning of the series, it's so dark. Like it feels so dark and fuzzy, and then obviously you watch the 2023 and 2024, and it's just so crisp and polished, and
Yeah.
it's hard to feel that you miss the little bit of the roughness around the edges.
Yeah, but that's the 90s for you.
For you.
Now, I do want to bring up Horrorland, the original book, and the sequel from Series 2000. Not necessarily weird in the whole idea of a scary theme park, but just the idea that it was just a big reality show, hidden camera show.
That is weird.
For a bunch of monsters. It's very strange.
Yeah, that's so odd.
And also the pinching.
Yes, the no pinching. And then they just deflate like balloons, just like...
That's horrifying.
Yeah, it sure is. But yes, that it's, and obviously the TV episode leans into that. I think much harder than the book does, of like the TV show of it all and the the commercials and all that stuff. That the TV episode does kind of what you were talking about with Blob That Ate Everyone ending, where at the very end of the TV episode of One Day at Horrorland, it's two horrors watching the TV episode.
That's right.
It's kind of like the van about to go out, or the car about to go out.
Yeah, and another dark one too, because they're about to die.
That's so weird.
It's such an odd, like, for some reason the word sophisticated is coming to mind. I don't know if I would describe it necessarily as that, but that's the word that's coming to mind, is because it's such a meta, like, big twist that it's so weird and unexpected that it almost feels like it's really like kind of almost cerebral or sophisticated in this way, because it's like I can't imagine like me as a kid watching that episode or reading the book for the first time being able to fully appreciate or understand the idea of what that twist is.
Well, there is this thing that happens at the beginning of One Day at Horrorland that sort of signals that things will probably get really odd.
When the car blows up?
The car blows up at the beginning.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
It's so rare that something blows up in Goosebumps.
And everyone's like, oh well, we'll figure it out later.
But yeah, they park the car and the car blows up in the parking lot. Like, what?
They're like, that sucks. Well, let's enjoy our day.
Yeah. Well, it's actually funny too, because the episode of Horrorland, you know, when they first park, you see like a horror underneath, like lifts a sewer grate and then puts like a beeping device on there. So it's almost like, are they going to blow up the car? And actually, no, it's a remote control device.
And I didn't even like, I think I had forgotten, but I was listening to this podcast and there was the reminder of that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a remote control device planted at the beginning. Like, weird.
Yeah,
Weird.
it's very, very weird. But I love Horrorland, just the whole concept of it. But that whole aspect of just the hidden camera reality show and like, you know, the monsters are supposedly nice, but actually they're not. It's very, very funny. Even the whole book series itself of Horrorland just kind of delved in sort of the strangeness of the whole concept.
Yeah. It's one of the more like iconic locations. For some reason, you're so right. It didn't occur to me today for like weirdest books because I think I'm so used to it.
Yeah, I think, because wasn't that the first one you read?
The first one I ever read was, One Day at Horrorland.
It's a very iconic one, and definitely a lot of people look back on it positively. So I feel like that's why it's not really like seen as strange, because it's so lumped in with like the very iconic stories.
Yes.
But when you really look at it, like it is very weird. It is very strange. But again, it's one of those stories that benefits from it because it makes it so fun.
Yeah.
Another story that has a very weird concept on its face, really, is It Came From Beneath the Sink.
That's also on my list.
Wow, gruel.
Yep. It came from beneath the sink. A killer sponge.
Like wild, like
A killer sponge that feeds off of bad luck.
and the only way to feed it is to sing to it and play happy music like for the rest of its life, for the rest of your life.
I still remember the very end where like it's so tiny now, and Kat has it like next to her in a little terrarium and just puts like little headphones on it, and it just starts kind of like bouncing up and down and vibing to it.
Don't you wish there had been like a gruel toy?
Honestly, I would have liked it. They should, with all the merchandise they were making in the 90s, just make a little sponge.
What was the potato with the teeth?
The Lynx.
Lynx, that's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Also one of my favorite endings, because they randomly just mentioned in the Encyclopedia of the Weird.
Yeah.
They mention a potato with teeth, and like the TV episode, Catherine Isabel opening, like picking up the potato in the thing,
so disturbing.
so scary.
That's very scary.
And one of the best screams on that show. Like, I think about that.
Whoa.
Yeah, love It Came From Beneath the Sink.
Love
So
It Came From
weird.
Beneath the Sink. Yeah,
It's very, very good. I love that. I love that book. A lot of people kind of crap on that one too.
Really?
I don't support that.
No.
Bad luck sponge, like monster.
It certainly ain't no SpongeBob.
The cover, like, is everything.
The cover's fantastic.
Yeah, that cover is so good. I like that they don't show it. Like that, it leaves in your imagination to still, like, they're like, it's a sponge. We're like, but is it?
It's smart. It's smart for Arlstein, I think, because it came from outer space or whatever. Pulling from like a B sci-fi horror movie title and then making it something like that everybody has an under their kitchen sink.
No.
Like it's like relatable. It's like not like I'm gonna be scared of the kitchen. Like it's so it's so Goosebumps.
Yeah, when mom
Scared of
gets
sponges.
put a sponge. No, put that sponge away.
garden variety sponge.
Maybe people with trypophobia.
Oh
No.
Oh,
I have trypophobia.
yeah. Red eyes.
Yes, and it has like in the episode has like 3, doesn't it? 3 eyes,
Something like that. I remember there is one point where it shows off like very sharp teeth.
little flaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that one's disturbing. That's a good one to show people if they don't know. Like you add that to your list of ones to show your friends at night to freak them out or whatever. We'll make them watch Don't Go to Sleep, and It Came From Beneath the Sink.
Classic, yeah.
Those are ones I want to watch if I'm just in the mood to laugh.
I haven't watched that one in a minute. Thanks
Yeah,
for
maybe
this
I'll
reminder.
watch that one tonight.
I love another thing I love is the sound it makes when it's like being grabbed. It's just kind of like
Someone had to audition with that voice.
Yeah, who did that? Cal Dodd.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's like while you're in here, Kyle, let's get you to a couple sponge sounds. Like, okay.
Oh God, I love that. It's just like, what is a sponge sound? Doesn't matter, Cal, just do it.
Nailed it.
Actually nailed it. Yeah. Weird.
All right, now here's a twofer. 3334, that's Camp Jelly Jam and Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes.
I also have Camp Jelly Jam.
Absolutely. The fact that they're the villain in a Goosebumps book is a giant, sweaty, purple monster who sweats snails
And burps.
and smells like Brussels sprouts. Like,
and they have to clean him because if they don't, he's gonna smell himself and die.
And the way they defeat him is just by like laying on the floor.
Yeah, they
so
just stop, and he's so fat that he can't reach up and pick them up.
But that's what's causing the like tremors from underneath the sports camp. Like, huh? Only the best? It is. Jelly Jam? Like, what?
King Jelly Jam.
Hysterical. So weird.
It's so weird.
I just keep thinking of when we talked with Deborah Forte and she was saying that the second movie could have been a camp movie. And the idea is like, there could have been a Jelly Jam movie. It's so crazy to me. Or even an episode. Like, couldn't be weirder.
Yeah. That one's also
done.
It's a strange beginning of that book too, because our two leads get detached from their family's like trailer or whatever, and then it like goes off the street, goes down a hill, and then crashes at the bottom of the hill, and then it's like, oh, you're at camp. Whatever, we'll find your parents later. Just stay at this camp all summer. And they're like, okay, time to play sports.
Get your king coin.
Get your king coin.
Your king coin, only the best.
Incredible.
Yeah, I kind of really love it, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely one of Bjorn's favorites. Bjorn loves Camp Jelly Jam.
And that cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird.
It's so weird.
It's
actually, at the time recording this, I don't know if you guys seen it yet. Craig just drew a Camp Jelly Jam piece with Slappy and Curly.
Need to see it.
Need to see.
Yep, definitely check it out.
Yeah, there's not enough King Jelly Jam representation.
There was a little though. There was what the second line of action of figures was, but Buddy, right? But it was labeled as
King Jelly Jam.
Jelly Jam, but it was just him doing this.
Wait, really?
Yes, you should Google it. It's just Buddy from the cover, like, and it was a figure. But wasn't there like there was? I remember seeing a drawing of King Jelly Jam somewhere. Oh, maybe I may be confusing the Goosebumps graphics.
Goosebumps graphics, and then also there was the cover art for the reprint. That's
I think
it's the only times we got to physically see what King Jelly Jam actually looked like.
I have such a clear image of him.
This toy is so ridiculous.
I know, just to have a figure of Buddy.
So wild. What a weird choice for a figure, a collectible figure. King Jelly Jam.
King Jelly Jam.
I love it though.
Yes, it is up there for weirdest.
That's on my list as well.
And then also Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes and Planet of the Lawn Gnomes, I've heard, is even stranger.
Oh, I haven't read
that one.
I haven't either, but from what I've heard, that is one of the strangest of the entire franchise, is Planet of the Lawn Gnomes. And I can only imagine with a title like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, I mean, the episode's pretty straightforward. I don't think that one's as strange, but the book kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to like that whole warehouse full of gnomes, and then I think it ends with like a gorilla statue winking.
Oh yeah, doesn't like the gorilla wink or something like that? Like
it like winks at
it's also
Johnny.
so specific to have like my dad's really into yard antiques.
And we're going to go over to Lawn Lovely and like see all the ornaments to pick out.
As if, having a dad into ventriloquism wasn't already unreasonable enough. Then you have, no, my dad loves lawn gnomes. He loves lawn ornaments. And it's like,
Really?
No, it's just music saying.
Oh.
But it's that thing with Goosebumps. It's either that or the parents are scientists.
Yes.
Yeah, the parents either have to be into something weird or they're scientists or gone.
Absolute scientists, yes. Spooky leaning scientists. We love it.
Ooh, here's another one. How I Got My Shrunken Head.
No,
Strange.
that wasn't on my original list, and then that one jumped in my brain. I was like, oh, I should have put that on there. Yeah, Kalia. I should have put that on there.
Pretty epic for a book.
Yeah, it is. It's very, no wonder it was 2 parts in the TV show, because like it's such a big adventure.
It's a jungle adventure.
It's also like
it's giving video game.
Yeah, they should have made that into a PC game. How I Got My Shrunken Head.
They could have. Yeah. Yeah, also another iconic cover that like stands out to me. But you're right, it's so random. To, like do that.
It deals a lot
with his like jungle fantasy for a book or two.
Yes, it's like getting the jungle check mark in there of like strange environments that we could throw kids into.
Yeah,
jungle magic with their
jungle.
Yeah, jungle magic.
What is jungle magic? That's right.
I don't think anyone knows.
No, and when I think of this book or this story, I do think of the episode, and just I remember the ending with Mark, just like the way that they made him fly, because that was like when the budget was really low already.
Yeah, they'd run out of.
They picked a bold one for a tight budget.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's a nearly impossible one to pull off.
Yeah, like little puddle jumper plane to get to Balladora, like all of that stuff. Like there's a lot happening in that episode.
There is. There's a lot of ideas.
Yeah,
a lot of weird ideas there.
Another one. I don't know if this is necessarily a strange one, but as much as I don't like the Monster Blood books, I gotta say, Monster Blood 4 is definitely the very strangest of them all.
I agree.
You're right.
Why? Why did we give Monster Blood a blue slug makeover for the 4th one? I don't get it.
Water-based, like what?
I don't understand.
Yeah. Why did we give Monster Blood a 4th book?
They were not my favorites.
It doesn't even feel like Monster Blood. Like it's not even like, it's so strange. It's a strange choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one that's like strange in not a good way. Like it's just like, how is this the logical next step? If you're doing a sequel to Monster Blood, I don't like those books at all, but like at least the first 2 sequels kept with like what Monster Blood was. It was the green sludge that grew and like was like the blob almost. Yeah. And then they get to the 4th book and now it's blue multiplying slugs with giant lips.
It does kind of feel like it was another, I don't think this is true, but it feels like it was another book that was like Attack of the Water Slugs or something, and are the blue slugs, and then they just like, no, we need to put Monster Blood's name on it so we make sure it sells.
Oh yeah,
it does feel like that a little bit, where it's like, what does this have to do with Monster Blood? Kind of.
Yeah.
Or like, quick, we need to do another Monster Blood, but we've done 3 books that are essentially the same book, so what's a gimmick we can add to it?
I know. You're exactly
Is that
right.
ours that has the most sequels besides Slappy's? Because there's 4 of them.
Yeah, I think Slappy has the most. Slappy has the most.
Slappy has the most.
Slappy has the most in the overall series, but I think in terms of one series, I would say Monster Blood. I guess Slappy World, he has a ton of. That's the thing with Slappy. Slappy is weird because Slappy never has the same one protagonist. So you can't really call them sequels as much as just like another Slappy story. Where Monster Blood, for the first 4 books, they did have the same recurring characters.
That's true.
So I guess if we're going off of like
I agree. You're right.
recurring cast, I would say Monster would have the most sequels.
You're right. You're right. That's a good point.
I don't think there's any more in the original series I have to bring up, but I will bring special mention to 2 Series 2000 books, and that's Full Moon Fever and Earth Geeks Must Go.
Earth Geeks Must Go. Oof. Wasn't it originally called Earth Geeks Must Die?
Must Die, yeah. And I think they were like, no, you can't say that. And it's like, why?
Which I remember being disappointed by.
Yeah. And Full Moon Fever is such a... I mean, Full Moon Fever, it's not a werewolf.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's just a monster of some kind. Yeah.
Like, but it's called Full Moon Fever, and we have a monster on the cover that really looks like a werewolf.
Yeah, that's some.
But it's not a werewolf.
Some false advertising, Mama.
Exactly. Honestly, for a while, I was like, it's a werewolf story, and then people are like, nope, it's not.
Yes, there is a werewolf in the living room. You're right.
Not Full Moon Fever.
Not.
I don't remember Earth Geeks Must Go super well.
I don't really. I remember that they don't look like what's on the cover. Am I wrong?
Like the aliens, right. Yeah.
Yes, the aliens don't isn't represented by the cover, but I remember. I think I probably only read it once, if I'm honest.
I'm getting confused with Brain Juice.
Yeah, Brain Juice is one I remember more from Series 2000.
Brain
Juice. Yeah, that one is just.
I have some OG shout outs that I think are weird.
Great.
That I'd like to point out. Calling All Creeps.
Calling All Creeps is kooky.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the weirdness of like these lizard people controlling students through seeds
through the tuna surprise
that are
guys or the cookies in the episode.
I think of like the chalk. I remember that book being so confused by like what is a creep, and then like they're all in a phone booth on the cover, and I remember being like, what is happening here? I thought that one was weird. And then I have a controversial weird pick.
Great.
The Ghost Next Door.
Okay.
I think The Ghost Next Door is weird because it feels to me like it exists outside of all the rest of the Goosebumps books because it's like weirdly emotional, because it's really dealing with the TV series is a whole other thing. But like, I mean, the TV episode, but is it 2 parts? Yes. Yeah. The book itself, because it's, our protagonist is a ghost and she floats away at the end.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry, because she's like,
I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, Goosebumps Crew Podcast. And like, it's like a fire. So that one feels like, even though it's about a ghost, it feels like more grounded in a way.
It definitely feels like an outlier. Like it feels like it definitely is the most sort of like, for lack of a better word, emotional book.
It's an internal conflict rather than an external conflict. There's no real villain per se. There is sort of like a dark, dark shadowy figure, but it's more just kind of like an obstacle. It's not really like the main threat. It's more about a girl coming to terms with the fact that she is dead and so is her family, and helping another boy who can see her. And then it ends with a pretty high stakes, like nothing that you would see out of Goosebumps. Then Haunted Mask more just because of how deep the themes in that story are. So those are I don't think those are controversial at all, to say that those ones are weird purely just because of how much they break from the formula.
That's what I mean.
Yes. And it's not the end, like there isn't a
nasty twist.
There isn't a nasty twist at the end.
Nope.
She's like really out of form for another weird one for me is Say Cheese and Die Again. Because I think Say Cheese and Die is so strong, and the fact that we got a sequel that was so piss poor like that, it's just
so bad.
Like
it's so terrible.
It's so bad.
The weight gain thing happening is so weird. Like
the skin,
the scaly skin stuff. I'm like, why did we go in that direction for Say Cheese and Die Again? And it's like all about Mr. Sourball. Like, it's just such an odd direction to go for what I consider one of the strongest Goosebumps books in general.
Definitely one of the most iconic books. It's such a good choice. Honestly, this is another topic we'll have to do someday. It's just like the dumbest Goosebumps protagonist, and I think Say Cheese and Die Again solidifies that Greg Banks is a stupid child.
Greg, what are you doing?
What are you doing,
Greg?
I need to get a good grade on my test. It's like
Greg. God.
Oh, cool. You're going to nearly kill yourself and your friends. Congratulations.
What? Yeah, it's such to me it's such a missed opportunity and like just an odd direction to go with that concept. That to me was one of the weirdest.
And that is an episode that is not good at all. I said that I don't think Don't Go to Sleep, Harriet's Adventure are good, but I still love them. That's an episode I think is shit, and I don't enjoy watching.
It is not one I return to often.
Nope.
I have another OG one that I consider very weird.
Tell us.
The Barking Ghost.
Yes.
The Barking Ghost is strange because we're also dealing with body switching, jumping from animal to person to all of that.
Pirate ghosts.
And I think it's also another mislead because the cover of the book is the sinister, evil-looking dog, and it's like the Barking Ghost is such a provocative, interesting title. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking the first half of that book, when the first time I read it, being like, "Ooh, this book is like, I'm kind of scared. What's happening here, Cooper or whatever?" And by the end of the book, I was like, "What?" And like the TV episode,
the Changing Tree,
the TV episode,
the TV episode's rough.
It's rough.
Another very rough one. Mm-hmm.
So that one to me is like. It like doesn't like almost deliver in a way based on what the title and the cover is, and it just that feels weird. And I get if I ever revisit it, I get continually disappointed over and over again.
Yeah,
of that one, which is too bad. So that's just such a weird choice.
It's like you could do a great story with a ghost dog, and it becomes pirate ghosts, and another one where somebody turns into a squirrel for some.
I know. What is with the squirrels?
That? Yes.
I have no idea. It's so weird. Ugh.
Matthew, tell us your weirdest.
So the weirdest from the OG is I Live in Your Basement. That's my number one. Yes, but my weirdest is Little Shop of Hamsters.
Yes, I was hoping we were going to bring that one up.
Little Shop of Hamsters. Book number 14 in Goosebumps Horrorland came out March 1st, 2010. Daniel, you have not read it,
I have not read it.
It's kind of like a conflation of a lot of Goosebumps plots put together, where it's just like a mashup of a bunch. So I'm going to read you the description, Daniel, and see how many Goosebumps books we have in one here.
Great.
Instagrow pet. Amaze your friends with a giant creature. Sam desperately wants a pet. Too bad his parents don't think he's responsible enough and will barely let him keep the weird Instagrow animal from the Horrorland gift shop. To prove he's responsible, Sam takes an after-school job at a pet store that sells nothing but hamsters. To his horror, Sam soon finds that cute little hamsters can become very uncute monsters. And suddenly Sam isn't fighting for a pet, he's fighting to survive. Could the Horrorland souvenir have anything to do with this?
Could be.
Instagrow animal. This is, to me, quintessential R.L. Stine rolled over in bed one morning and said, Little Shop of Hamsters, that's a book. And then had to figure out from backwards how to do it.
Cuddles,
literally,
what
like,
are you eating?
If Go Eat Worms mixed with My Hairiest Adventure and you replaced worms with hamsters, that's this book.
What?
Throw in Monster Blood 2, and we have One Day at Horrorland. Wow, you're right. That is a grab bag.
Yeah. There's also a character in the book named Chef Belcher, and it goes in such a weird. It's just we're all out of ideas at that point. I feel like.
No. In a book that got a special shout out in the Goosebumps movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
oh, you're right.
Yeah, it's like you had to pick Abominable Snowman. You couldn't have picked a Little Shop of Hamsters.
Yes. Yeah. Little Shop of Hamsters sounds like one of those things where you're doing like a quiz online, like an old BuzzFeed quiz. It's like, which one of these is not a Goosebumps title? And they would list like 4 of them, and you'd be like, Little Shop of Hamsters, there's no way that's a Goosebumps title. Like if you didn't know any better.
What?
But that is a Goosebumps book. Little Shop of Hamsters.
There's been many a times. In fact, actually, I think it was when we had Maddie Gonzalez on, and I brought up that Little Shop of Hamsters in the book was a book, and she's like, "There's no way." And I'm like, I was just like, "Oh, back to my bookshelf here."
True.
There is a way.
Yeah, that one.
It's so good. I remember that book came out because like that was when I was getting into Goosebumps, and even at the time, I was just like, what? Little Shop of Hamsters? Like, that's not scary.
No, I don't remember being scared when I read it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not part of my experience that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Also, remember this book
was fun.
in Goosebumps 2000, there's Slappy's Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like that being like a weird detour in like the Slappy verse.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of weird ones.
That was interesting. It was interesting though, and we kind of got that again in Slappy Beware. I do like, honestly, I do want to see more introspective Slappy stories. Like, I feel like we've gotten enough of the, my parents won't believe me that, the ventriloquist dummy's alive. Like, I like to see, because Slappy is probably one of the only Goosebumps antagonists that has a definitive personality.
Yes, a clear personality.
Exactly. So it's like, that's one I wish that we could get more, just like, he's the main character and not, rando kid number 86. For how many
Can't do out of it for me.
Yeah.
I don't need can't do anywhere near that.
No. It works for that story. Keep him away from everything else.
I don't need him present for my Slappy stories.
I'm looking at my top 10 list that I made for weirdest, and we've covered all of them.
Yeah, no, that's
I'm glad there were there's a few that today have been surprises for me or ones that I forgot about, but like for the most part, we've been pretty much on the same page of what we think are the weirdest.
Yeah.
I have heard that Say My Name, which is the very latest House of Shivers book, is a very, very strange one. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so I can't say for sure. It's a very weird title.
It's a very weird title.
It's a strange title, yes. Yeah, I need to...
Couldn't immediately tell you what that's even about.
No, it has a fish on the cover, so it's like, is it a fish story?
Have you read Goblin Monday?
I've not read Goblin Monday. Besides the first book, the scariest book ever, I've not really had the time to read through House of Shivers yet.
The last
but they are all very strange. Like, yeah, Goblin Monday, like that's just a very weird one.
Yeah, sometime soon I'm going to get caught up on all of them. Mm-hmm. But it's so hard when the old ones are so good.
Yeah, I just keep going back to some of the old ones.
That's the thing. It's like the new ones, there's a benefit because there's so few new ones coming out, because back in the 90s they were just coming out like every single month, like 2 or 3 at a time. And now it's easier to catch up on them, but I'm just like, but I like the old ones more.
Yeah,
can't help it.
Yeah. There's always like, maybe this happens to you, but a lot of my friends know I love Goosebumps, and they're like, whatever happened to R.L. Stine? Why doesn't he write those anymore? I'm like, they're still out. They're still coming out.
Yeah,
I was like,
they're still writing.
Stopped. They actually haven't almost never stopped.
Mm-hmm. No, not all. And, I'm trying to think about any other ones. I feel like we've really covered, like, the weirdest of the weird. Every Goosebumps book is weird in some way. Don't get me wrong. But, I feel like we definitely covered some of the very strangest ones. And I think that's just the great thing about Goosebumps in general. It's just that it was a grab bag. It was... Sometimes you might get one that was scary. Sometimes you might get one that was funny. Sometimes one had both. Or neither. Mm-hmm. But that was the charm of it all. And I think just the charm of kids' horror in general is that you can weird into the goofy, wacky aspects of the spooky and supernatural in that sense.
A lot of the ones we talked about today are equal parts scary and funny.
Yeah.
Like Egg Monsters from Mars.
Honestly, I once heard somebody say, like, you can judge what a great Goosebumps story is just based off the title alone. So it's like, the goofier the title, the better it's probably going to be. So It's a good way to look at it.
Chicken, anyone?
Yeah. God, please read Chicken if you have not already.
I mean, it's a great. I can't remember if you guys have done this, but I'm such a huge fan of the taglines of the books. Like, it's a finger licking nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could have a whole episode talking about the taglines.
There's so many.
And guessing which. I mean, it'd be pretty easy, but guessing which book is which based on the
tagline.
You know,
that would be fun. Maybe that can be another quiz game. I'll let the guys know that we're going to do another quiz.
Oh my gosh,
wrote about that.
Like the colors.
A finger licking nightmare is such a.
It's so
what
ridiculous.
Other book could that be for?
I texted Matthew the other day talking about something else, but I said it's going to be an LONG night.
That's true.
It's like, how do you say that? Do you say it like LONG or do you just say long night?
It'll be a long night.
Wait, yeah,
blood everywhere.
Yeah, or just it will just kill you.
Kill you.
That's
kill you.
That's what it is. House. It will just kill you.
It will just kill you. It's so dark.
But then you have one like what's hiding in the dark for stay out of the basement, and it's like that's actually good.
Oh yeah, that's good.
But that actually adds to the creepiness of it all.
Yeah, I remember the Night of the Living Dummy was he walks, he stalks, and the Night of the Living Dummy 2 was he's still walking, he's still stalking.
And then when dummies speak, everybody listens.
Yeah.
That would be a great episode. That'd be one we'd have to get you guys on for that one.
555 Creep or something.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be wonderful. That's a whole can of worms right there. We'd have to bring you guys on for that one.
If looks could kill.
That's Haunted Mask.
Yep, the Haunted Mask. Yep,
that's a really good one.
They're good. I'm telling you.
With a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there was one on the front and one on the back.
That's right.
Yep.
Ooh, this is good.
Yeah. No, we're gonna have to do some kind of game with this. We'll bring you guys on for that one.
That's my kind of quiz. Ooh, I'm getting competitive.
My kind of quiz.
Yeah, we'll have to do that in the future. But yeah, that's basically all there is for the weirdest Goosebumps books. Definitely, there are some that are very, we definitely recommend, and some that are not good. They're weird in a good way, weird in a bad way.
After today, I really want to give I Live in Your Basement a second chance. Mm-hmm. I really want to. It's been a long time. I haven't read it in a minute.
And it's the shortest.
I think I'm ready to revisit it and get weird. It's 2025. Let's just do it.
Let's get weird.
I think I'm ready. I'm finally ready to revisit my childhood trauma.
You can read it in my basement.
Oh, that's true. Daniel has
read it. I live in your basement in the basement.
No.
Everybody lives down there. What's the tagline for I Live in Your Basement?
Oh, wait, hold on. I have the book right here. It says,
"Oh my God, yeah, what is it?
Talk about a monster nightmare." Okay, and then the back one is He's got
the basement blues. Dude, that cover's so gross.
It is. Look at that.
Forked tongue. Those like yellow organs just sitting in front of the
reminds me.
washer
I have to do laundry.
Well, that is going to do it for tonight's episode of the Goosebumps Crew. Dan and Matt, thank you guys so much as always for joining us, and we'll definitely have to have you back on here.
Especially looking forward to it. We're all I want to talk about forever.
Yeah, well, we'll have to bring you guys back on very, very soon. We'll figure out a time.
Great.
Really enjoyed talking with you guys about Goosebumps as always.
Likewise.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. If you guys want to check out Dan and Matt, I'll leave links to their social medias in the description below. If I'm not mistaken, you guys are still working on your independent horror film?
Oh, mine is, yes, mine is out, and it's called The Jessica Cabin. You can see it wherever you can rent or buy movies.
It's brilliant.
Thank you so
It's
much.
so good.
Working on the next one. Who knows when it'll come out.
Yep. And then I'm working on one as well that who knows when it'll come out.
It's also brilliant.
Thank you. It's a campy stalker movie, and we're still stalking.
We're still walking.
We're still stalking. That should be the tagline for the movie.
What's funny is the other day for this horror movie that it's a movie called Howdy Neighbor that we shot already and we're trying to sell it right now, and there's a bunch of behind the scenes stuff happening, but they want to pitch Howdy Neighbor 2, and they're like, let's come up with some good taglines for it. And so we came up with a list of starting with taglines before once, like, you can't unfollow your fears, or he never left, he just got better at hiding. Like, we're trying to come up with taglines.
How about if looks could kill?
Yeah, how about he's got the basement blues?
Basement Blues. That'd be a great name for a movie, just Basement Blues.
Yeah, nice and weird.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, I'll leave links to where you can find Jessica Cabman. And if you want to follow on Howdy Neighbor, you can follow Matthew on his social media. He's always posting updates on where that movie is at. So check them out. They're both awesome. And of course, I'll also leave a link to Welcome to Deadcast, their Goosebumps podcast. So you can go check them
I
out.
want to re-listen to our episode of I Live in Your Basement.
You should tonight.
Yeah.
Great.
I'll be expecting it.
Yes.
And as always, you can follow my buddies Bjorn and Nick at Goosebumps, Oxyvan, and Sean, respectively. If you like today's episode, make sure you like and comment. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on our audio platforms, and our social medias. All those links are in the description below, so check them out. We'll have another episode for you next week. But until then, this has been the Goosebumps Crew Podcast, and from all of us here, I want to wish you all, as always, to take care, stay safe, and have a very scary day.